right now. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, I feel like this is a very informal call. So I had just reached out to Mechaela after, seriously though, Mechaela, like especially during the call, like we were like, we have a group chat and everybody was like, oh, I love this and I love this. She's so awesome. So then I think somebody mentioned like having you speak on one of our calls and I was like, should I ask her? Was it Joe? And so yeah, so we just really appreciate, I know I have a bunch of questions. We just appreciate you giving us this opportunity to kind of, after the fact, ask some clarifying questions and things like that. So this is really just kind of a very informal, like kind of Q&A. We have Mechaela to ourselves for a tiny bit and just to kind of pick her brain a little bit. I know kind of what Joe was saying. I know for me, and I think others can relate, so I had been using primarily Facebook because I had my business page and I have had a lot of success with it. Primarily, that's where all my people have come from. But then I started jumping on the Instagram bandwagon when it became like super popular. I definitely dragged my feet for too long. But when I did, I didn't know any better. And I felt like everybody was just like, Instagram's different than Facebook. You don't have to form anybody. You just like go right to the punch. And then here comes Kate Morgan, like out of the freaking blue with all these points. And she's like, yeah, I send 62 invites a day. And I was like, okay, I'm going to send 62 invites a day. And it clearly doesn't work for me. Because I didn't know any better. So I just like did what I thought everybody was doing. And I think some of the people on here can relate. So I told them like listening to your call was like a really, a breath of fresh air, just kind of being like, okay, I can go back to my roots and I can do what I feel is right. And I have potential to still be successful doing, like, I don't have to do what like Ashley Feldison's doing in order to be successful. And it's so funny because I preach that. I'm like, don't just read a PD book because you see that Ashley Feldison is reading it, and then here I am being like, okay, Kate Morgan, Ashley, and just doing whatever everybody else is doing. So I've, taken a few steps back and kind of aligned my system because I'm still using it for Facebook. So now it's just kind of easier because I'm just going to transition it to Instagram. I already have, and I have gone back, like you had said, and tried to mend some of those people who probably were a little put off from those cold invites. So I've been working on that. And so I just really appreciate all your honesty and everything that you were telling us on that call because it was really valuable. So I know one question people have is about your tracking.
Okay.
And there's a couple people that aren't here because they are traveling and at the wake for Alyssa. And so that was one of the questions one of the people asked me to ask you. And I was like, I think she said she doesn't have a system, but I'm curious too.
To be honest, with being a full-time teacher, working 60 to 80 hours a week this past school year, because I had the combo class, I tried the whole paper pencil of keeping track of who I would talk to and had like check boxes and would do like follow-ups. I would check it off. That overwhelmed me. I was starting to get burnt out with coaching like I am teaching. And I'm like, this isn't fun for me. Right. And I wasn't talking to these people. I was just inviting them, inviting without even getting to know them. So I tried the whole paper pencil thing. That didn't work for me. I am currently, this is the way that I track, and this is how I keep track of my conversations on my DMs. I just do the star feature. Sorry, that's so blurry. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, don't be sorry, but yeah, I think
I star all of my messages, and you just click on the 3 little bars. It's on the right-hand side of your DMs, and I star all the conversations that I'm starting with people. And I'm really purposeful in the people who I start conversations with. I do the whole, like, I kind of screen their page and I look to see, hey, do we have stuff in common? Because if we don't, I'm not going to have enough to talk about them. Like, I'm not going to have enough to talk about with them. So I do screen them before I start the conversation because it does take time.
Right. And you're not going to take that time with people who aren't jiving with you, Yeah.
Exactly. And so I do screen them and then I star them once I start that conversation. And just truly, like, I just scroll through and I try to start 5 new conversations a day. I know that's not a crazy big number, but that's what's doable for me right now while I'm working this crazy camp and working from 7:30 until 4. So that's what I can do right now. Now, as I start this summer and I'm not teaching, I'm going to absolutely up that number up. but I'm truly a part-time coach, and I'm trying to quit my teaching job next year. So I know I have a long way to go, but I know that I want to build a team that's with me for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't doing that in my first month and a half. I was just inviting just because I wanted the money, because I'm $18,000 in debt from stress spending my way through my first 3 years teaching. So I was inviting for the wrong reason. I was desperate for money. And most, if not all, these girls quit, or they are inactive because they didn't fall in love with Shakeology, and they didn't fall in love with the journey because I didn't invite them from a genuine place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just what works for Kate doesn't work for me. And what's so interesting is that with Kate, though, she did initially ask me, hey, do you want to join my June boot camp? But she followed up in between with talking to me about makeup and about fashion and about random things. And then she would invite me again, and I would still say no, or would ghost her, and she would still respond back. Like, so that's the thing, is it works for Kate. But I will say, though, I was watching Kate's stories every day. And that's the thing, is I look to see who is watching my stories till the very end. Because if they stick with me through my stories, and if you all have watched my stories, you know how psychotic I am. If they stick with me through all those 10,000 dashes, I know that they're invested in at least my daily life, and they take the time to watch me. So I'm going to take the time to get to know them the way that they are trying to get to know me.
And when you are that committed to your stories, it is kind of like forming without forming, because you're allowing them to really get to know you. So you almost don't have to have, so you still want to have some, but you don't have to have as much back and forth, because they're already like quietly getting to know you.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have a perfect tracking system.
No.
I wish I had.
No, it's refreshing to know that like you're so successful and you're using the STAR system. Like we can do that, or you're starting 5 new combos, like totally doable, So you're starting 5 new ones, but you're continuing other ones, like you're moving other ones forward every day.
Yes.
I like that. I do like the STAR. I started doing that because I know you had mentioned that really quickly in our chat. Okay, another question I had is before tracking. So like, what if people continue to ghost you?
If they continue to ghost me, I usually give them some chill time.
Yeah.
And I look and I see if they are watching my stories still. If they're still watching my stories, they still give a shit.
Nope.
So there's kids watching. But I know that if they're still watching my stories, they still care. They might not be ready to say yes yet, because I wasn't in the mental state to say yes to Kate when she first invited me. I was at my lowest point in the month of December when she first reached out to me. And it did take me time of watching her daily to build that trust with her. So I just view it as, you know what, this person's still building trust with me right now. So I will look and see if they are still watching my story. I will go watch their stories, and I will respond to one of their stories as just like a super informal, oh my gosh, that is hilarious. Or wait, that's really funny. And I just will randomly do that. And if they still ghost me, that's fine, but they haven't blocked me yet, and they haven't unfollowed me yet, and they're still watching my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they block me, if they unfollow me, then I know, hey, no means no with this person. They are truly not ready, or they just don't want that. Mm-hmm. But if they're still watching my story, I know they still are curious. They still are building that trust with me. So that's what I do, is if I see that a person ghosted me, I will look through my stories, and I'll scroll through because I usually have about 1,000 people a day watch my stories. So I will truly scroll through, because I truly break it down into 5 people, and I look and I see, okay, is this person watching my last story? And I scroll through. If they are, then I'm going to take the time to go to their page and engage with their content. And that's what's been really nice, is the past month and a half, every single girl that I've signed up the past month and a half those have been my most consistent girls in my Facebook groups. They are the ones who are actually responding back to challengers, and just, they're my most engaged girls. And I think that forming that connection with them has made a big difference. They are not canceling their shakes. They're not canceling their pre and post workout. Just, I think there's something to be said for really getting to know them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
At what point do you look at who's looking at your last story? You know what I mean? Like, because like my last story hasn't been posted yet for today. So like at what point does it become your last? Because it's just a never ending loop.
Totally. And I usually do it because I'm usually at school until 6:30, 7 o'clock, Mondays and Tuesdays, because it's team call nights. I get home 7:30 and I will usually check it after my workout. So I'll check around 8:30 and I look to see, okay, who has watched up until this point?
Okay.
And then I will just screen that way. So I usually do it right, like right before bed. And this is something that I had to do too with my boyfriend is I had to let him know, hey, I need to invest about an hour into my business right now, right before bed. And then my time is with you. I needed to be better about my business hours because in the beginning, I was so passionate about this and I still am, but there was an imbalance. I wasn't sleeping. I was just like, I love the grind. I just want to keep going and going. And there was an imbalance and my boyfriend wanted to kill me for it. And that's not fair to him to ruin that relationship. So I think if you have a spouse, if you have a significant other, letting them know your business hours is really important. And that's something that I do. And I literally show him what I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm need to follow up on these conversations. I need to reach out to new people. And once I showed him that, he understood why I needed to take the time to do it. So that's what I do. Is I wait till the last part.
It's like you're being productive. You're not just kind of aimlessly scrolling. You know?
No. And I don't scroll through my feed at all unless it's someone who I have starred. So I've kind of stopped looking at what other coaches are doing. I'm not really concerned with what they're doing unless I have them starred. Those are the people who I'm scrolling through trying to get to know. Just I had to stop scrolling meaninglessly and I had to stop watching my shows that I love. I really had to become so laser focused with what I'm spending my time on because I'm still teaching full time right now. Oh, wait. Hold on one second, Brooke. I can't hear you. Sorry.
Because I muted myself. Sorry.
Okay.
Ashley just wrote a couple things into the chat. She said, where are you finding your people? # places, people with large followings. That's number one.
Answer to that question. What's really interesting is I was recruiting pretty much all teachers and that was my market. But right now there's a really negative climate right now in the teaching world towards Beachbody coaches. And a lot of teachers are sending around viral posts that are like, stop. It's like one of those like Britney Spears pictures, like when she's bashing the car and they're just like, no, I don't want to join your boot camp group. So there's a lot of animosity towards coaches right now in the teacher world. So I've nixed that market because I have no traction with them right now because they're just being bitches. So teachers are full of excuses and they're bitches. And I was one of them. So I get it. Totally get it.
Yeah.
But what I really focused on or what I'm focusing on right now in the month of June is expanding my market. So I really am kind of falling back in love with my faith and with praying. And so there's this YouTuber who I really like. Her name is Cambria Joy. And I just really like that she's a health and fitness person, not a coach, but just loves health and fitness. And she's really, really spiritual. So I looked at her followers and I started to follow a ton of her girls. And I'm starting a lot of conversations with her followers. And they're not teachers. Some of them are like corporate women who I don't have as much in common with, but I do work full time and so do they. Mm-hmm. So there's still something that I can connect with them on. But I did really have to change the people who I'm following because my teacher market isn't doing anything for me right now. So I'm looking at things that I'm still interested in. I love, what else have I looked up? I look up Harry Potter hashtags because I freaking love it. And I have looked up Hufflepuff because that's the house that I'm in within Harry Potter. Really nerdy. Sorry, but I'm a freaking nerd. But I look up fellow Hufflepuffs and I have started conversations for hours about freaking Harry Potter and Hogwarts shit. That's so lame. But I really do look at what I'm interested in and I look up hashtags like that, or I look up fellow YouTubers or bloggers who I really like following, people who love makeup and fashion because I love that as well. So that's kind of what I've started to do. I wasn't doing that initially. Oh my God, I can't talk. It's been such a long day, but
Long day.
I wasn't doing that initially. I had to really shift gears come this summer, actually. And I thought my market was going to pick up because the teachers wouldn't have excuses anymore, but they still do, and they're still being bitches about it. So I needed to shift gears. So that's what I do for number one, is I look at people who are similar to me though, and who I enjoy watching, who I connect with, and then I follow their followers. And how often are you going to those people's pages and commenting?
Like back in the day, there used to be this thing called the 3-2-1 system, and you would like 3 pictures, comment, or like 3 pictures, comment on 2, and then the idea would be that they would follow you back. So I think some of us older coaches have that mentality that you should be going to their page and engaging with them that way.
I don't do like 3 likes in one day, just because I think that doesn't look as genuine, just because you're like, okay, cool, like, okay, now let's start the conversation.
Right.
And then when you do your page, they're going to be like, oh, she's going to sell me shit.
Yes.
So I like 1 like and then responding to one of their stories. That's what I do, because I truly just stumbled on their page. I liked something, and then I talked to them about one thing within their story, or I talked to them about that post that I liked. So I personally don't do that, but I know that might work for a lot of people. But
no, this was before stories, so I think that system makes sense. So like one thing.
So on that, my question would be, so the day that you select those 5 people, you go to, sorry if my computer is being a little funky right now. You find your 5 people, so you'll go to their page and you'll like one of their photos, you'll check out their story, and then you initiate the conversation right then.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Exactly. All right. Because otherwise I'm like, how are you going to know who to start the conversations with? Okay, so you do it right then.
Yep.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And at what point do I invite? To be honest, it depends on the conversation. If they're responding back pretty quickly, they are asking me questions back, and it's just naturally flowing, I always drop in subtle hints. And they will say, hey, so when do you finish your camp? Well, just kind of depends on the conversation. That's what's so hard, is I don't have a set in stone time when I invite them. I'm dropping breadcrumbs about coaching. I talk about my workouts and how that was the best part of my day, or my workout playlist to find the link in my bio. I'm always dropping hints so that they go to the places where I'm talking about it more. But I would say after about a week, 2 weeks, then I invite them to my boot camp, or I just say, hey, are you currently on a health and fitness journey yourself? And some of the girls will say, no, but I've been kind of thinking about it. Okay, well, what point do you think that you are at right now? What's your biggest struggle? And most of the girls who I connect the most with are people who are emotional eaters. So a lot of binging people. That's who I attract, because that's who I am. I am a stress eater to a T, and that's the tribe that I'm attracting. And that's usually their biggest pain point. And I always empathize with every single pain point and objection that I get. And I get a lot of money objections, and I say, hey, well, I'm 18 grand in debt. I make $2,900 a month. I'm not rolling in dough here, but I had to stop spending money at the Target dollar section for shit that I don't need in my classroom. I had to cut out X, Y, and Z so I could afford to finally put myself and my health first. Anytime that I bring that up, I've never gotten another money objection after that. They will either ghost me or they will sign up. Mm-hmm. So money objections, that's kind of the way that I handle that. And I totally switch gears with that. But that's my biggest objection that I personally get, is that they can't afford it. And I always say too that I was paying $120 a month for this boot camp place. It was called The Camp, and they had great workouts, but it was a 20-minute drive there, 20-minute drive back, a 50-minute workout. And I was paying $120 a month for no meal plans. And I was consistently do that and was consistently not going. And so I always bring up that it's $180 for the year of workouts. in my boot camp groups. You get access to all of that for a year, and you are not required to stay on monthly Shakeology or Performance Line. So that would be your only monthly cost. But when you think about it, if you stop going out to eat, you can't afford Shakeology. If you stop going to Starbucks every day, you can't afford Shakeology. So since I've started to talk about it in that way, I'm having people who aren't canceling every week like what I was when I was first starting.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. I love it. Okay, then my last huge question is all about your amazing emails.
My emails. Oh,
I should have a lot of I might have a lot of time in the car this weekend, and so I want to make my own emails because I feel like that's the last like system I need to put in place at the moment, and then I feel like I'd have a pretty solid system. And I just like that. I like how it kind of has everything, and I don't know, I just like it, getting to know them, and then if they're interested, send them that. It kind of gives them everything without having to take so much time, because if you are talking to a lot of people, that must save you a lot of time.
It saves me a lot of time. And the one thing that I will say is I've had to revamp that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This feedback that I've gotten is that they're too long. And when I pull it up right now, I'll show you guys that that's something that I'm really going to be focused on this summer because I'm going to have the time for it. I need to condense it so it's not as long. But I know that with the tribe that I was attracting, which was teachers, they loved the cute fonts and they totally would read through, because I'm a type A person who wants all of the stuff told to me like right then and there. Like Kate, I told her, Kate, no. I don't want to schedule a Zoom call in a week. I want to know everything about coaching today, right now, because I'm going to do it tomorrow. Yeah. And she was like, Mechaela, calm down. Like,
I know, I tell my people like, oh, we can talk about it in a few weeks if you want to continue with Shakeology, blah, blah, blah. And people are like, oh, that's fine. I would be like, no, I need a game plan right now. Tell me all the details and I'm going to decide right now. And like I'm the same way. I need to know
I'm
right now.
Type A in that way. And that's why that I made my newsletters in that way and was structuring them like that. But I'm getting more DMs saying, hey, so I'm still a little unclear about which package is the best for me. So that's data for me. And I'm like, oh man, I need to really just make it not as long. And so I'm taking all that feedback, because as I start to get those DMs with them asking questions, I know that it's too long or I'm not being clear enough.
Right.
So I truly do need to revamp them, but I'll share my screen and I'll show you guys what I send them.
I love that you call it a newsletter too.
So ignore my 10,000 tabs. My God. Do you see all these folders?
Yeah.
Sorry for my cussing. I apologize if it's really offensive to you guys, but.
Well, that's me.
Okay, let's see. Emails. Okay, so here's my pricing one.
Okay, that was my question too. Like what categories have you found helpful? Like pricing.
So this is my pricing one, and this is the one that I have for my monthly boot camps, because I do it each month just because I post so much within the Facebook page that I like to have a fresh start each month rather than having it just continue on. And I go really hard during my prep week. Prep week is something that's really important to me so that my girls feel really confident and comfortable before they start their challenge. So I really build my community during my prep week. And we have daily challenges on like getting to know each other. Where was your favorite place you had traveled to? What's your favorite picture of yourself and why? Like, why did you feel the most confident there? Like, I build that community in my prep week. And I don't know how I got onto that. but I run monthly boot camps for that reason, because I want those new girls to feel that sense of community.
Yeah.
And know that they can interact with the other girls who are on that page, because I do have about 110 girls within my boot camp each month, and that's a lot of people, and I want them to still feel heard and feel special. So that's why I run them monthly. So I do change the wording of this each month. This is kind of setting the tone of, I used to make all these excuses for why I couldn't afford this. Here's the things that I was spending money on. And then I just get straight to the point of the dates, why I think it is really valuable to become a discount coach. And that's something that I've done from day one, is I actually sign up pretty much every challenger but two with becoming a discount coach. because with me being a broke ass bitch and not having a lot of money, I would so much rather spend $115 a month on my shakes than $140.
Right.
And I was told by Kate that I didn't have to become a coach. So I'm like, okay, well, why would I not do that? And I knew that I really, really liked Shakeology. So I'm like, why would I not do that? That's the cheapest price per month.
Right.
So I always have that be their first choice. And if they're not comfortable with giving their social security number, then totally fine. You can be a challenger. But I always give the discount option first because the money objection is my biggest objection.
Yeah.
So that's what I put right there. And then why I would recommend being on Home Direct of Shakeology. And like, this stuff is some of the stuff that I'm probably going to cut out because it's getting really wordy. Like, as you guys can see, like, this is a lot of stuff to read, right?
Yeah.
Are you sharing something? I'm not seeing it.
Oh, really?
No, I can see it.
Anyone else not seeing it?
No, I see it. It's
Everyone
awesome.
else sees it? Why can't I see it?
I'm sorry, Joe.
That's all right.
The record. I mean, it's definitely on the recording.
All right.
And what I can do too is I
It's a
can
touchy
send it to Brooke if you want to post it to your team page because you guys won't be able to edit this one because you have to have the teacher fonts that I had downloaded to actually see it in this format. So I can send you the PDF if you want me to, Brooke.
Sure.
Okay. And then I talk about beach bars. And then I talk about the different packages that I'm going to be offering for that boot camp group.
Month. Okay. Yeah.
So this one's for Lift 4 because that just came out. So I show those two packages, then I show this one, and then here are some of the other programs. And this all came from the website, and I just basically like took a screenshot with my laptop and then bullet pointed it. But as I'm looking at it, it's a lot of information. Like we're on page 4 out of 7 right now. It's a lot. That's overwhelming. And when I look at it, like I like this personally just because I'm type A, and what I would do is I would print this out and I would highlight it because I'm so lame like that, but that's what I like. So that's what I started to structure my newsletters as, but I'm not getting as great of feedback because I keep getting questions about this. So girls are probably getting annoyed and they don't want to read through it. So they're just going to DM me the questions.
Right.
So it's not as productive as I thought it was.
Yeah.
But I kind of detail through it. And then I talk about putting in pre and post workout. I talk about 2B mindset. And I actually have a separate 2B mindset newsletter because I've had a lot of success with 2B mindset, being someone who has really struggled with binging. I have attracted a lot of girls into just doing 2B mindset. So I'll show you guys that one after. And then which challenge pack is right for me. And then I tell them, okay, so here's your step 1. And I didn't know about Share a Cart, guys, until like 2 weeks ago. Share a Cart blew my freaking mind. That has been my go-to. I'm obsessed with Share a Cart. It just took out this whole section of my novel length newsletter. So Share a Cart, I freaking love it.
Yeah.
I freaking love it because
there's does a great job providing us like all the tools we need.
Jealous.
Awesome.
Because that has changed my life. So Share a Cart is going to take out all of this stuff right here, to be honest. And I'm just going to be like, send me back your first name, your last name, your email. If you live in the US, Canada, or just, I'm going to structure it to where I'm going to just send them that cart because it can be a discount coach or a challenger. Much easier. So this part I'm 100% going to be taking out because I don't need to give them all these steps now.
Right.
And then I finish it off with this. And that's my email. It's my DM for them to ask me questions, my logo, and that's it. So that's what my newsletter looks like. And it's long. As you can see, it's really freaking long. And I'll show you guys my 2B mindset one right here. So this is the 2B mindset one. A little bit of background. So I talk about being a like yo-yo dieter, binging through my parents' divorce and how I would gain weight and then would lose weight. So I find that with 2B mindset because I've attracted a lot more emotional girls to 2B mindset, sensitive girls who are really, really struggling with their nutrition. I have found a lot of success with this newsletter that I made.
Okay.
And then I talk about becoming a discount coach. I had linked this YouTube video, which was just I think it's a 2-minute video with her just kind of talking about what to be mindset is.
Mm-hmm.
So I linked that, and that was from Alana.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to become a discount coach, let me know. And this was before Share a Cart. I didn't know about this when I made this, but I'm going to kind of switch this up too to kind of structure it more towards Share a Cart. And then I had laid out the three challenge packs.
Okay.
So I actually give the link that was from my BB links. I had copy and pasted that directly to right here. So it has my coach ID right there.
Yep.
But this was before I knew about Share a Cart. So dipshit me. But those are the 3 kits. And then I kind of talk about what will be within that nutrition group. And that's right there. And then questions and then my name. So this is kind of where I would like to get my regular boot camp one. I'd like for it to be 4 pages maximum. And just to condense it.
Yeah.
So that's what that looks like. And then I'll show you guys my welcome to the team email. This is a little bit longer, but I really like to take inventory of what my girls need and what I need to provide for them. So that's what a lot of this is about. And I save it to a file so that I can always look and see, hey, when I follow up with Courtney, here's what she needs. Here's what Brooke needs. Here's what Pam needs. Like, I really, really look at those. So I like to get those emails back, to download my challenge tracker app, and then to add me as a friend on Facebook. Prep week, I talk about prep week, Instagram. This is our like daily challenge posts, which are in the Facebook group. And then I do all my daily check-ins within the My Challenge Tracker app. That's kind of the way that I structure my boot camps. And I'm
so this is welcome like for new challengers.
Yes. So like this is like once they sign up, this is what they get.
Gotcha. It's like a welcome event. I have that.
Yeah. So this is what they get after they sign up. Now let's do this shit. Of course I would cuss in this, God bless. But that's what I send to them after they have signed up. And I think that that's it. Those are all of the newsletters. These are all of the ones that I type in, and then the PDF version of it.
Okay. Now, do you have people who like roll right from one group into another?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So all your people stay in your groups?
Yep. What I did though, when I first started, I did make it a requirement to be on monthly Shakeology or Performance Line. Mm-hmm. And I realized that was really unfair to ask because I wasn't checking in with my challengers every week, one-on-one. I was doing the daily post and I was doing all of those things, but I wasn't taking the time to direct message them one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And I felt that it was very unfair to expect them to be on that when I wasn't giving them 100%.
Right.
So with me teaching full-time, I had to realize that I'm not going to be able to check in with my challengers one-on-one every week. So I took out that requirement from my boot camp because just realistically, I can't respond back to 100+ messages every single week. It's just too much for me.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I would never be able to invite because I'd be spending so much time doing follow-up. So I do it every other week, and then I give myself 2 weeks to respond back to all those messages. And that's worked so much better for me, for my sanity, and just that's helped me to keep the girls that I do have. So I do check-ins, like one-on-one check-ins with my girls to just say, hey, so how is everything going? Wanted to check in on you. I do that every other week.
With all of them?
Yep.
Even like the old people. Okay.
Even the old people, because I still want them to know that even though they are an OG, I still want to check in with them because they were the people who trusted me from day one. And the fact that they're still with me, that means a lot to me. So that was something that I had to restructure within my business because I was spending so much time inviting that I was forgetting about the people that I did have. I was forgetting about the Success Club 90 that I hit in April. That's not fair to those girls who signed up with me then if I'm not checking in with them at least 2 times in that month. And that's minimum. But when I go full time eventually, I will expect myself to do it weekly because there's no excuse for that. So that's just my own personal take on it.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions? Yeah, Ashley, so much good info.
Thank you.
Yay. Those are my big questions. Do you guys have any? Joe, you're so quiet.
I got the thing to work.
Oh, good.
Had to drop off and come back, and it magically appeared.
Okay. Perfect.
So very helpful.
Yeah.
I've been finding like the same thing, like it's a lot slower and I'm not patient. But I've been spending a lot of time on my Instagram story and I see things like changing. Like, for example, like I got some random friend request on Facebook and I was like, who's this dude? And so I went back to Instagram and I'm like, oh, he's an Instagram follower. So he's a legit person. I've never contacted him. Never noticed that he's liked anything of mine, but then I just messaged him through Facebook and said, hey, thanks for the follow. I said something else just about him because it looks like he and I seem to live very similar lives. We both have twins. We both have tattoos. We both like football. We're both, he's like 2 years older than me, and that's about it. Very similar lives, and we just had this like conversation until I had to go to a meeting. So, and that's a quality over quantity versus like sending like 60 messages to people who haven't communicated to me at all. But so I guess a question that I have is you're really focused on those people who make that first step towards you. You're looking at those who are looking at your stories and also those who are liking your Instagram posts.
Yep.
So what is something you might say to somebody who likes your Instagram post? Like, let's say it's a call to action.
What I always say is, I just wanted to thank you so much for following me on my teaching, health, and fitness journey. It truly means so much. And I will wait until they respond back. If they ghost me, then I will go to their story and I will just randomly comment on one of their stories, or I'll go like one of their pictures. But if I notice that they like a picture where I'm talking about coaching or about my boot camp or about wanting them to have them join me on this journey, I will always go and thank them because that really does mean a lot to me. I truly do try to respond back to every single DM now. I try to respond back to every single person who's taking the time out of their day to watch me and they're engaged in my life. I need to be doing the same for them. So I just genuinely thank them because it means a lot that they're sticking with me to follow me in my crazy, crazy ways and they watch through my whole story. That means something to me. And I never used to care about that before, but I think coaching has made me a better person for that because now I genuinely care about those people who take the time out of their busy, busy schedule to watch me. So I just thank them. And if they respond back and say, I just love your personality, or how do you make it all work with teaching and then with coaching? That's one of my biggest questions. And I love that question. I love when people ask me that because I'm like, coaching's not a job. I don't view this as a job. This is my outlet. This is the best part of my day. I literally was so excited for this call tonight just because I'm like, I get to talk about what I love. This is my release. This is the best 2 hours of my night, the best 3 hours of my night. So if that doesn't feel true to you, it's going to be a lot harder to invite. It's going to be a lot harder to want to make those connections because you don't really care about this business in that way. So I think that's the way that I've kind of approached it, Joe. And I know that was the world's longest response to your question.
No, it's perfect because you actually just finally explained why I love this so much. I never have viewed this as a job.
No.
This is an outlet for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
So similar question. Now somebody looks at your Instagram story. You're just thanking them for watching. See, I'm always hesitant because I don't always I don't know if everyone knows that if they look at my story, I know that they looked.
I know. I've always wondered that too. Like, do normal people know that we can see it?
It's like we're coaches. We know this stuff. We look at all the analytics, but if someone's like stalking me, do they know that I know? So if I say, hey, thanks for watching my story, I don't want them to go, oh shit, he knows. Now I can't watch his story anymore.
Totally. And so that's why I will always go and like one of their pictures, or I'll respond to one of their stories if they post stories. So
Okay.
that's usually the way that I handle if they ghost me, because I do get ghosted daily. And that's the way that I usually respond to the ghosting messages, is I will maybe wait a day. If I have the time that day, I'll do it that day. But if I don't, then I'll just go back the next day and see if they responded back, because I will star their message. And if they didn't, then I'll go and like one of their stories or respond back to one of them. And that's usually the way that I structure it.
Okay, so when you respond to, say, a post, say they don't do stories, do you actually comment in the post?
Yes,
okay.
Always. I'm so much better about that now. And I've seen my engagement go way up because I actually take the time to respond back to every single comment. The only post that I didn't do that was when I had like 600 comments when I bought my house with my boyfriend. And that was the only one where I was like, oh shit. I was like, I can't respond back to all of this. And so I tried to like part them all, but that's the only post where I can say that I didn't respond back to every single comment.
Okay.
Awesome. This was really, really helpful. I appreciate you taking the time to do this for us.
Yeah, of
Thank you for
course.
sharing the recording with the rest of our team.
One more question. Do you do any work on Facebook?
No.
No.
No, that's a lie, actually. So I was scared to do work on Facebook because I have all of my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, my college friends, my high school friends. I've always been teacher Mechaela. That's what everybody has viewed me as. And I was very scared and was living in a state of fear of what they would think if I started to talk about this. And it wasn't until April, so 2.5 months, 3 months of coaching, that I finally got over myself. And I was like, you know what? It's wrong to assume that no one that I know in my warm market doesn't need this. And that's why April was my Success Club 90 month. I just posted a live video to my Facebook page where I have my like 500 family members and my 40 cousins, and because I'm Mormon and Greek, so I have a lot of cousins. And I hit Success Club 90 for that reason, because I just talked about what coaching has done for me and how I came upon this opportunity and how it's helped me to not binge eat. And I had so many relatives, old girls who I went to college with who I didn't even talk to, who were like, holy shit, I feel the same way you do. I'm so burnt out at my job. I connected with my warm market in a way that I never had before. So I'm now starting to post whatever I'm posting on Instagram. I'll put it onto my Facebook feed if I feel that it's something that I want my warm market to see. But I don't have a business-like page. I don't message anybody. I don't take the time to really go through Facebook in that way. I'm doing it more so on Instagram. So partially running on Facebook, but not.
So basically you post on Facebook, and if they come to you through your post, you're just not like, if somebody likes your post on Instagram, are you messaging them and thanking them too, or? Okay.
Not so much on Facebook, because I know everybody who's my friend on Facebook, but on my Instagram, I do go personally thank them.
Okay.
I'm not reaching out to my warm market in the way that I am my cold market. I'm not going through and asking my aunt Rhonda, hey, Aunt Rhonda, do you want to join my June boot camp? Or I'm not going to spark a conversation with my aunt in that way. So I really am running my business right now from my cold market, which is Instagram only. Eventually, when I go full time, I would love to try to reach out to all of my friends and people who I know in my real life. I would love to start to do that more. But right now, I've seen more success with Instagram monthly. If that makes sense.
Definitely. Yeah. All right. I don't want to take any more of your time. We appreciate you doing this for us. So yeah, don't be surprised though if we have some follow-up questions.
Yeah, me on my DMs, and I usually try to get back to most people within a day or so. And so DM me on Facebook or Insta, and would love to help you guys. And thanks for having me, and thanks for dealing with my craziness.
Oh, no, we love it. When do you go to Greece? I know you told me, but I forget.
Tuesday.
Oh my goodness. We're so excited.
So excited. We're going to be there for 2.5 weeks. So excited to see family and cousins and relatives. So it's going to be great.
Oh, fun. I'm happy for you. All right. Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
Of course. Bye, guys.